Morning. Welcome to the Unity Spiritual Center of Springfield. We are honored that you have chosen to gather with us this morning. If you're here for the first time, we are delighted to have you. If you are comfortable raising your hand, one of our ushers can bring you a welcome packet. Or if you'd rather, you can pick one up on the way out. Unity is a positive, practical, open-minded approach to Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of affirmative prayer. We believe that all people are created with sacred worth, and we are free of discrimination on the basis of race, gender, age, creed, religion, ethnicity, ability, and sexual orientation. We honor all paths to God. As we begin today's service, please affirm with me the Unity Spiritual Center of Springfield's core values. We are loving, accepting, spirit-filled, and joyous. Our vision? A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our mission statement. Unity Spiritual Center is a loving environment that nurtures spiritual growth while serving one another and the world. Also, as we begin our service, we ask that you please mute your cell phones to ensure that everyone can enjoy the service. And as the prayer box is brought forward, let's join in singing Surely the Presence. We open the service by lighting the Christ candle, which symbolizes the divinity within each one of us. We also light the second Advent candle, honoring the Christmas season when we prepare for the rebirth of Christ, Spirit within. We welcome the blessings of this beautiful season and the opportunity to share those blessings with one another. And we ring the prayer bowl, allowing its vibrations to weave us together and ground us in the power and presence of Spirit. For those of you who have prayer requests, I invite you to fill out a prayer request and place it in the offering basket later in the service. Prayer slips can be picked up in our sanctuary. They're also found in the pews in front of you. For now, please hold those requests in your heart as we join together in prayer, which our guest speaker, Buddy Horn, is going to lead for us.
Yes, let us join together. We give thanks for the opportunity to be. We're still wandering the path of life, trying to understand the meaning of our being. And sometimes maybe we misunderstand. But we come now in the presence of one another and collectively hope, faith, peace. We seek the reality of these things. We want to manifest them in this world and among humankind. So open our ears so we can hear maybe a new thing that we're ready to hear, that we can feel in the depth of our heart, our being, a greater liveliness within us. And give us the true joy of this season. Amen.
And now for our daily word. Today is Sunday, December 10th, and the word is peace. Peace is the song in my heart, of my heart. As the Advent journey continues, I seek to embody peace. No matter what might be happening around me, I can rise above that which troubles and distracts me, all that takes my attention away from my spiritual life and my relationship with God. Peace is always mine, an aspect of my divine identity. When peace feels far away, I take it as a cue to center myself in spirit. I return to the practices that calm my mind and open my heart. As I relax and enter the silence, I touch the peace and perfection of God and claim that peace is my own. Returning to activity, I carry peace with me. I bring harmony to my interactions, calm to my reactions, and tranquility to every corner of my life. I won't just be peaceful, I will be peace itself. May mercy, peace, and love be yours in abundance. Jude 1:2. And now for our special music is our very own Tim Sanpalo.
Everybody. Beautiful day. Don't know whether to wear a sweater or a short sleeve shirt, actually, but it's fun. This is a song that actually was done in a movie that I have never seen, but I liked the song. I liked the imagery in it, and if you're a mom or a dad, I think you'll really understand all about this one. Mommies and daddies always believe that their little angels are special indeed, and you could grow up to be anything, but who could imagine a king? A shepherd or teacher is what you might be. Oh, maybe a fisherman out on the sea, or maybe a carpenter fixing things, but who would imagine a king? It was so clear when the wise men arrived and the angels were singing your name, that the world would be different 'cause you were alive. That's why heaven stood still to proclaim. One day an angel said quietly that soon he would bring something special to me, and of all of the wonderful gifts he could bring, who could imagine? Who would imagine? Who could imagine a king?
Thank you, Tim. That was beautiful. And now I'd like to introduce our special speaker, our friend, and Reverend Buddy Horn. He's from the Unity of the Hills Church in Branson. He's been here before, and we're so happy to have him back with us again today. He's going to give us a message today about peace during the Advent season, so we want to thank you so much for being here, and we welcome Reverend Buddy Horn.
Well, first of all, for the last 2 weeks, I've asked myself over and over, what were you thinking to speak about peace in this day and time? So I've dug and scratched and hoped, and hopefully some of the things I will share today will assist you and maybe give you a little new perspective about where we are as a species. We seem to live in a world of contradictions, whether it's of our own making or whatever. I'm a big fan of, even though I understand very little of the universe and telescopes, I'm a big fan of telescopes, and when I can, I like to take a look. Today, we know with the James Webb telescope, there are countless galaxies in the universe. We have the ability to look so far out and see things now. Yesterday, I took my new telescope, new to me anyway, out, and I had remembered, okay, you have to actually set these things up. You know, there's certain things you have to align and whatever. So I get it out, and I'm Googling and messing with the telescope, and I failed miserably. I never did get it set up. And it wasn't the telescope's issue at all. It was mine. So I'll get it out again and try to learn some more. But the problem is what I don't know. That's the problem. And I think in our spiritual journey, I think there may be some things that we don't know that if we had an awareness could be helpful. For example, we probably could have filled libraries with books on spirit. Who knows how many governments have come and gone with their political structures and all of the rules and things that, you know, this is for the society's own good. We'll create this to do this and that to do that. But there's one word that is not as familiar to us, and I think it's kind of missing. And I noticed this morning in the class, there was something in there that Charles Fillmore had said, and he used the word soul. Very rare in my experience of reading Unity stuff is the word soul used. Spirit, metaphysics, mind, yes, all over the place. But soul. Now, I have just enough knowledge of Native American spirituality that I think that's a pretty big word. And I think it's very, very important if we can grasp it and incorporate that into our understanding of our own being. A person, Bill Plotkin, has authored some books. One of them, Soulcraft, the other one is Nature and the Human Soul. And he writes a sentence in there that just jumps at me. And on one hand, it's not real profound, but and on the other hand, it's a challenge. It says, we human beings are here to be fully human. Now, if you think about that, most of our readings and stuff is about being divine or having divinity within us. I mean, our minds sort of take us away from being fully human, the appreciation of that. You think about Jesus, you think about the baby. It's hard to really capture the baby as a human being because our mind rushes past that to God, to some future thing that we can realize in our own journey. And we miss it. He was fully human. We're here to be fully human. But I'm not sure we've appreciated what that really looks like as it manifests out in the world. I mentioned contrast. I think about Marianne Williamson. She's been out there, done some things, had pretty good influence in a lot of areas, certainly in the world of unity. I think she's a beautiful human being. I think she's much more whole than I am. She's grounded. She's a loving human being. So I think she's manifesting her capacity pretty well. And yet, when she's running for political office, she gets very little attention. She has so much to say, but not enough are listening or even maybe connecting with what she's about. Now, I don't know if you saw this on the news recently, but there was a subcommittee Senate hearing about something. I didn't catch the beginning of it. And there was a CEO of some company that was sort of being grilled, I guess, by this committee. And he and a senator from Oklahoma got into bantering back and forth. And the senator got up and was going to go and just punch him. The senator's background was he's one of these cage fighters. You know what that is? It's about the most grueling thing you could do. Now, that was his background. So his response to this person was to beat him up. And he actually got up and started walking, and Bernie Sanders is there. Sit down, sit down. You are a senator. Sit down. But you know what? I thought, well, oh my gosh, anybody can lose it for a brief moment and say something or do something reactionary. But after the hearing's over and he's walking down the hall, a reporter approaches him and asks him about it. And he basically said, I'm from Oklahoma. And if you're from Oklahoma, you better be ready to back up what comes out of your mouth. He hadn't seen a problem with his conduct at all. Now, my interpretation is something's missing. When the response to difference is violence, something's missing somewhere,
That's right.
You can't, especially if we accept the idea that we're all of the same being, we're all the same essence, and so it makes no sense to pound somebody, to oppress somebody, to beat them down. It makes no sense.
Amen.
But we've done this a long time. We're pretty it's almost our go-to, it's our default. I don't know, maybe some of you saw this documentary recently. It's about Native Americans in Colorado when Colorado was a territory, before it was a state. There were Cheyenne, Arapaho, and I don't know who else, and moving about, and lots of buffalo, plenty of food and all. Life was going well for those folks. But then people began to discover gold and different things like that. So it started attracting others into this territory. And it became an issue because as the wagon trains and stuff would come through, sometimes they would split up the herds and make it difficult for the Native Americans, to feed themselves. Sometimes the close proximity or the different behavior was a problem. And so there was some conflict. And so as the tension grew, there was pressure to address these Native Americans. And so a treaty was created, signed. The Native Americans agreed to it. Not so much on the other side. They agreed to it, but they just didn't fulfill it. So they began to push them to a different location. And the governor at that time, John Evans, governor of the territory, his name is John Evans, he had been a physician, so he was an educated person. A physician, you know, you're supposed to care for people. But he didn't like the Indians. He didn't like them at all. In fact, it was written that he once said, if you see an Indian, kill him. This was a problem, and he wanted to eliminate it as best he could. And so while treaties were made, there wasn't much enforcement of the treaty on that side of things. Well, there's another fella comes along, gets into the cavalry, does pretty well, becomes a colonel. Now, this guy had been a Methodist minister. Again, took education, was supposed to be caring for people, but he hated the Indians. And he had no problem killing the Indians. Well, these folks were forced over to a place called Sand Creek. And just so happened there was nothing there for them. So the government said, all right, we will feed you from this fort. We will feed you. That went for a while, and then that stopped. And they had no food. And now they're isolated, are hungry. They've cooperated with the treaty as best they can. They've been violated. And along comes this John Shevington, which is the colonel, and he has about 600 troops. And they swing by the fort, check in there, but their destination is Sand Creek. And they go to Sand Creek, and it just so happens that a lot of the males, because there was no game, no fish, they were out somewhere trying to find food. And the Indians were attacked. Now, both John Evans and John Shevington had political ambitions. They both had a desire to become senators when Colorado became a state. And somehow they had it in their head that if they just took care of this problem, that it would give them political favor down the road. So John Shevington boasted, yeah, we killed 500 or so warriors. In reality, they killed about 150, and most of them were women and children. So it didn't go well. It got out public, and both of them finally, lost their opportunity to advance themselves. I'd like to say that's a horrible tragedy of the past, and yet as we look daily, it's the reality around the world today.
Yes.
What's missing?
Mm-hmm.
When humankind,
Yes.
you
Amen.
know.
Amen.
Well, I can tell you, I think the answer lies in the heart and the soul of the very people, like those Native Americans that were so oppressed. An understanding of soul. We're human beings. We're part of nature. Even if we don't live like it, we breathe that air. We don't have an option if we want to be around very long. We breathe this air. We walk upon this land. We're social beings. Individually and collectively, there's a soul that needs to be appreciated. And that soul has certain manifestations. One of them is to live in a way that's sustainable. Sustainable. The Native Americans took what they needed, but that was it. I just saw recently, I think this is in Italy, there's a harvesting of kale that takes place. I guess it's a pretty popular food item in this area. But this person's out here and they're on the shoreline and the water's bouncing all over, but they're very selectively taking a little bit of kale here and a little bit over here and moving on. They don't just take all the kale that's in one area. They take what they need, but they make sure they leave plenty for the future. It's sustainable. It's a way of being in life, and they understand that. I know Native Americans, where they can, they still harvest wild rice, wheat and stuff. They don't go in there and take it all. They're selective about that. And therefore, it continues. Now, contrast that with us. I don't know if you folks, any have been down south of Kimberling City in the last year. There was a mountain, I call it a mountain, on the south side of the lake, across the bridge. Go up and there's a sharp corner and there's this mountain that we've admired all of our life. They call it Wilderness Mountain. There's a big sign, Wilderness Mountain. They bulldoze that thing off, and there's condos on top of condos there. It's one of the ugliest sights I think there is. And we call it Wilderness Mountain. Just destroyed it, really. I mean, it's. I don't think it has a soul, so to speak. That location is lacking soul. You have soul. One of the statements that was shared this morning, and it stood out to me really well, all people have sacred worth. That is a soul appreciation.
Amen.
All people have sacred worth. We wouldn't have the world in the condition it's in if the world of humankind could appreciate that,
Amen.
could accept that. Because we would be, we're in what they call a pathological state of being. If you have a problem, our typical solution is, well, we're going to give you counseling and get that corrected, or we're going to give you a medication and take care of you. The Native Americans have a different approach. They have a soul-centered approach. If somebody in their tribe, if you will, is having issues, their question is, what does he need? What does she need? Not, I'm going to punish you for that, I'm going to isolate you for that, or you're out of the tribe. It's all about bringing in and connecting and being supportive. What do you need? It's a very different approach to relationship. What if instead of picking up arms and fighting, what if we said to another country, what do you need? Where can we connect? And we build a relationship built upon soul appreciation and not upon, as Bill Plotkin would say, an adolescent mind. He presents, this is heavy reading. If you read his stuff, it's heavy. But it's worth it. He presents that there's a wheel of life, basically. You know, from your birth to your death. And there's different phases. And adolescence is a very, very important phase of human being. It's where we start pulling away from parents and start finding our own identity, which is a good thing. Start learning to be, maybe accept a few more responsibilities and things. But it's also a phase where, if you remember, oh boy, what was we thinking then when we did that? We're risk takers. Spontaneous. I mean, we're all over the place. And we're ego-centered. We're focused upon ourselves. Pretty much exclusively, most of the time. You might find a mature adolescent, and it doesn't have anything to do with age. This Oklahoma senator was behaving like an adolescent. And he's a little beyond that age time, you know, but not in the way he goes about life. So we really would do well to understand. If I've been conditioned to think and act like an adolescent, which I have, I mean, I'm in the United States. It's part of the deal. There's an invisible stamp somewhere, I'm sure.
Made in the USA.
Right. So, am I willing to give that up? Am I willing to say, you know what? We are one. We really are one. The answer is not to take by force, but it's to find a way to connect. And it begins within us. Eric Butterworth's big on in his books about from within. You know, it starts there, go within, connect, and I would say connect with your soul and come forward from there. One of the beauties of the Native Americans is they have elders. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a person come talk with us down at Branson, and she asked a question. She said, what do you think your average age is here in Unity of the Hills? And someone said, probably 65 to 70 or something. The initial feeling was kind of, oh, there's a problem with that. We are oriented, I'm sure you've heard this in prior churches probably, you've got to have kids, you don't have a future. I'm thinking we need to realize the strengths, the gifts, and the calling of elders, maybe before we get children, because we have a role to play. It's essential, and we haven't been schooled in it, but we can learn about it. Here's an example, and I've told this, I'm going to fast forward through this and quickly. Went on a hike, pretty good sized group, youngest was 16, oldest was 86. Pretty good little hike. Had to cross the stream a few times, and it was really interesting. The 16-year-old was not happy to begin with because the cell phone wasn't getting a signal. So, I was wondering, is this going to be a long hike or what? We start walking, and everybody's kind of quiet. And we're walking, and I'm observing the 16-year-old finally gave up on the cell signal, and he gets closer and closer to the 86-year-old, she's female. And about halfway through the hike, they're talking together. Talking. And I'm looking and I'm watching, and they're really enjoying one another. And I'm realizing, you know what? He's not the young man that he was just a short while ago. Something's changed. Something woke up in him. And it was his connection with nature. And you probably most have an awareness of that experience. But it can be an intentional thing. If we understand our role now at this phase of life, we can create the context in which we can connect with any and everyone, but certainly with the younger folks. They may not want to come and sit and read a book, but get them out into nature, and you see life start springing up, and it's a beautiful thing. I saw yesterday a picture, and it said, seek first to listen, and then to be listened to. And I thought, well, that's good stuff for an elder, the elder mentality. If every time a kid comes up and you start lecturing them, they're probably not going to come around very often. It's a whole different deal if they come up and we start listening. Listen. I think we have more patience at this point in the journey. We welcome that encounter, perhaps with a greater consciousness and a desire for that relationship. So being an elder really is an awesome thing. if we understanding. Understanding soul, nurturing your soul, is an awesome thing. And the more we can do that, the more whole we will be as human beings. The hereafter is going to take care of itself pretty much. But the herein, we have a responsibility to appreciate who we are and to facilitate this process of being. And probably more greatly needed today than ever. So, I want to say with you, take hold of the strength you have as elders. Learn about it. I know you've had John Two Hawks here. Ask him to come and speak about this some point in time. We had him down there, and he's talking, and I'm noticing his foot is moving around, and I know what he's doing. He's actually dancing. He's so alive, so much engaged in soul that he can't be still. There was a group of Lakota folks came to Branson and had their show for a while. We went and saw him twice. And the young man is doing the same thing, playing his guitar. At first I didn't know what was going on, but I finally realized he just cannot be still. He is so alive that it's going to express, it's going to manifest. And I shared that with John Two Hawks, and he said, yeah, I know him well. We're friends. And that's, awakening to your soul is a very important thing to do. It's new to us, perhaps, or to some extent, but I would say embrace it. Embrace it. Go out to that creek bed, sit down among the rocks, and let them speak to you. They will. The trees, the animals. You'll be amazed what comes into your life experience when you start feeling your way forward, listening, being soul-oriented. It's an amazing thing. And I think that's what this Christmas can bring us. It's not about the birth of Jesus. Jesus was never pointing to himself. He was always pointing to you. It's in you, and you. It's trying to awaken, but there's a lot of stuff in the way, as there is today. If we can put the stuff aside, and we can connect with nature, which is us, our being. If we can do that, we're on the road, we're on the path. It's a good thing. And there's hope for the younger ones. We can nurture them. We can be elders to them. And that's a beautiful opportunity. I love it. I could fight around the house all day long with the youngster, but if I can take him to the creek gravel bar, fight's over. All is well there. So, well, thanks for having us back. Glad to be with you. Hopefully something I've shared gives you a little, a new path to maybe explore. Bill Plotkin is the author of Soulcraft and Nature and the Human Soul. Tackle it if you so dare. I would highly recommend it. But realize that your identity can shift. We at Unity of the Hills, we're the same situation. We're trying to understand who we are and what we can do to take that next step forward tomorrow. And this is one of the things that we need to do. And I'm excited about it because I've seen it work. I'm excited about it. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take building. It takes the natural resources. It's always around us. So immerse yourself and enjoy that journey.
Now we're ready for our meditation song, Our Thoughts, Our Prayers.
Let us join together. We give thanks. Thanks for the wisdom of elders who have shone a light for humankind through the ages. Give thanks that that's a part of our calling. And it is so significant to connect when so many ideas and actions tear apart, to be able to mend, to bring together is a wonderful blessing. May the soul of this gathering stir into life ideas that supports the journey from birth through the end of this life in a way that's nurturing. There's a lot of confusion in humankind right now, but there can also be peace. It won't come by force. It'll come by love and stepping towards one another with a soul appreciation. So when you see someone, look them in the eye, look them in the soul. We are the same being. And may this bring great joy to the world of humankind. May this thought emerge in the hearts and minds of people around the globe, and we shift into a holistic living state of being. From the power within us, we affirm these things. Amen.
Hello, I hope you've enjoyed today's service. I hope that it has touched your heart, that it has impacted you in a positive way and helped you on your spiritual journey. I want to let you know that this center is fully supported by the generous donations of people that resonate with our message. So I hope you will consider giving by going online and giving a gift and helping us to continue this message. Thank you and God bless.
Now we're ready for our announcements. For your fellowships, when you want to thank Larry this morning and ask you to additionally sign up for the weeks coming. I think we've signed up through the 10th of March, so please think about in the spring maybe helping with that. Explorers groups still meeting every Sunday morning at 9:30. They just finished Reverend Eleanor's book on December 3rd, and the next book study is Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. This book is his most popular book, and it explains the basis of manifestation, how your thoughts shape your life, create your reality, and ultimately limit or expand your true potential. At a very personal level, Feeling is the Secret describes how our thoughts and feelings affect who we become and what we achieve. We have the power to change our thoughts and our feelings. We gain the power to change our circumstances, our health, our life purpose. So please come and join them for this nice new book they're going to share. I guess, again, Domingo's going to be leading that group. Walking meditation. Stay tuned. We may. Well, no, nice walk in the snow is always kind of fun. When the time's right, they'll send out information, I guess, through emails for those. Okay. Any questions, you can speak to Virginia or Sue or Sherry. All right. Council of Churches diaper drive continues. They need any size, all sizes for Greene County and surrounding counties. And if you'd like to address that need, you can bring those here to the church office, and we'll make sure that, I think it's Lane that takes those to us, to the Council of Churches for us. Okay, yes. Transportation, we are asking people to sign up to help give rides to those who don't have a way to get here. So I know we have several people already signed up, but you can still join in that if you would like. Exercise class, we're going to start on the first Wednesday of January, the 3rd. And I'm going to be leading the class, and it's a class I've been taking and also just started leading at the Senior Center. And it's based on the Arthritis Foundation, so it's really very gentle, not aerobic. We're not going to be dancing. We're just going to be keeping all those joints healthy and keep us upright and moving as long as we live. So that's the goal. So you're welcome to join us, and you can do them standing or seated. Every Wednesday morning, we're going to meet here at 9, unless schools are closed. If schools are closed, we won't try to get out in the weather. Okay, our annual church meeting's coming up. Mark your calendars. It's going to be the 17th, immediately following our service, and make sure you can assist our board with the leadership of our church. I think we're having nominations and election of a couple of new board members. Also, we hope you can join us for a Christmas Eve candlelighting service on Sunday the 24th at 11 a.m., and also for our Burning Bowl ceremony, which will take place on Sunday, December 31st at 11 a.m. And next Sunday, we're going to have Mike Cleary back, so be sure you're back here with us as well. Thank yous. Flowers were donated by Dawn Crane. They are gorgeous, and I think I forgot to go get them out of the refrigerator this morning, so I apologize. Thank you, Andy, for taking care of that. And they're in memory of her parents, Evelyn and Claude Crane Jr., and Fern and Rex Cobb. Also, our ushers, Sue Brown and Mark Ackerman. And I mentioned already, Larry brought in our wonderful snacks this morning. Thank you, Larry. And our AV tech, Kelsey Williams. Our music director, Tim Sonpalo. And I'm Jan Miller. Okay. And also, another thank you to our guest speaker, Reverend Buddy Horn. Now let's join together for our peace song.
And now let's join together in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.